Have I got a treat for you guys? This is a reading by me, don't worry, it's not a boring reading, of the Anunnaki text, how the Anunnaki brought barley to Earth. Now, I mean, that's pretty impressive. Now, this is a translation that's done by the Oxford University. Many different people had gone through it. There's loads down the bottom here, if you can see. There's loads more below that. And what I do is I read out these using my knowledge and help people understand who and what things are as I read it out. So if you're interested in more of these, I do have them on my Patreon page where, for example, they're talking about the Great Flood and so on. The Patreon page is called Our True History, so patreon.com, Our True History. So let's start reading this now, so you get an idea of how the Anunnaki lived. So where I say ... that normally means there's bits missing. In other words, they can't transcribe the texts. And these are the oldest texts known to man. Okay, men used to eat grass with their mouths like sheep. Now, men were the ones that the Anunnaki created. So we can see straight away that Neanderthal, that preceded humans or Homo sapiens, because obviously the Anunnaki genetically bred Neanderthal with their own DNA to create modern, well, humans. So if humans were eating grass with their mouths, then so would have the Neanderthals. In those times, they did not know grain, barley, or flax. An, which would be Anu, brought these down from the interior of heaven. Now, interestingly, heaven clearly means space, because there's many times they're talking about the stars in heaven. But I think it's a double meaning, because when I read it sometimes, it basically means Nibiru. So in this case, it would be Nibiru. Now, if you know how the Sumerian texts work, one word could actually mean 6 different things. So that's why I believe there is a possibility that heaven is, depending on their reference, it's just the same as us with the word live and live. 2 different things, and we have the same things here. But so heaven in this instant would be Nibiru. I'll read that again. An, King Anu, brought these down from the interior of heaven. Enlil, which is Anu's son, lifted his gaze around as a stag lifts its horns when climbing the terraced ... hills. He looked southwards and saw the wide sea. He looked northwards and saw the mountain of aromatic cedars. Enlil piled up the barley, gave it to the mountain. He piled up the bounty of the land, gave the Inuha barley to the mountain. He closed off access to the wide open hill. In other words, he's locked it somehow. He ... its lock. I'm guessing secured. He secured its lock, which heaven and earth shut fast. And they put a question mark. They weren't sure if that was the correct translation. Its bolt, which ... So again, probably a bolt to lock it. And another tablet. The Nanzu, who actually is another name for Ninurta, who is Enlil's son. The Nanzu said to his brother Nimnada, "Let us go to the mountain where the barley and flax grows, ... the rolling river, where the water wells up from the earth. Let us introduce the Inhala barley into Sumer." Now that's where they were at that point. So if you remember your history, Sumer is the first place that they got taught out of the 4 different territories, and that's why we have the ancient Sumerian text as the oldest, because that's where humans were started to be taught. Let us make barley known in Sumer, which knows no barley. Nimada, the worshipper of An, replied to him, "Since our father has not given command," in other words Enlil, "since Enlil has not given command, how can we go to the mountain?" Everything was very strict back then, as you can imagine. "How can we bring the barley from its mountain? How can we introduce the Inhal grain into Sumer? How can we make barley known in Sumer, which knows no barley? Now they do repeat a lot of things, which is really bad in terms of them having to scribe this into clay. So to repeat things over and over, it seems illogical for me, but they obviously felt it was important to do that. Then another tablet wrote, "Come, let us go to Utu of heaven." Now Utu was in charge of, so he was the twin brother of Inanna, and he was in charge of the space port, in other words, backwards and forwards up into space. So that makes sense. There's a second heaven there, but space, this one, not Nibiru. Who, as he lies there, sleeps a sound sleep. To the hero, the son of Nigel, who, as he lies there, sleeps a sound sleep. I told you they repeat things. He raised his hands towards Utu of the 70 doors, ? And then the very last tablet was Utu ... table ... So that's this particular very short one, but it's really important because along with goats, etc., the Anunnaki brought down from their home planet many things. So we ended up getting wine and bread basically taught to us by the Sumerians, and literally here it is written in stone tablets. So next time someone says to you there's no such thing as Anunnaki, literally they're telling us that man, right at the top there, man used to eat grass with his mouth. If this was written by man, you wouldn't say man used to eat because you're one of them. You would only say man if you're not one of them. In other words, something different, in this case an Anunnaki. And clearly you can see all the names and everything that's written in the stone tablets that predate the Bible, so just keep that in mind. So hopefully you enjoyed this. I have done many others already on my Patreon page, as well as many different types of videos, even one long series called Everything You Need to Know About Spirits. So if you're interested in any of that, you can actually go there. Some of the videos are free to watch on Patreon, so you can just go there and look for Outer History. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this, and look out for more. Thanks.